And then the religious leaders say, let's confirm this. And they take him to Pilate, who was the governor of Jerusalem. The king of the Jews in Rome's mind was Pilate the governor. He had made that claim himself. And so he shows up and on the doorstep, on the steps leading up to his palace, where Pilate would look down in his governor's seat. He sees Jesus and he asks him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" And lurking in the background, the devil again comes up behind the Lord. You know it isn't worth it. Just quit. But do you see your Lord and Savior? Do you see him focused? No religious leaders could stand in his way. No religion could prevent what he was determined to do. Do you see him focused on going to the cross? Nothing is going to prevent him. And when Satan says, "Is it worth it?" it's as though he looks back at him and he says, "They, you and I, are worth it." And so he goes forward. And now Satan, in the background, you know it isn't worth it. You don't have to die. All that will happen is that Pilate will have you whipped. And he'll whip you. And you can go free. A common criminal's punishment is all you need. And then you can have your disciples back and your followers. And you can be a great rabbi and teacher, one that the Jews will love. Just admit that it's all a lie. Just tell him that what they're claiming isn't true and that they've taken you out of bed in the middle of the night for no just cause. Just tell them. Yes, it is as you say. Oh! What is wrong with you? Pilate speaking. Do you not hear the testimony that these men are making against you? Silence. They accused you of lying. That's right. It was all a lie. Just tell them it was a lie. You're not the Lord of heaven. You have a human body. Admit it. And you can go free. Let this cup pass from you and live. Why are you so hell-bent, determined to go to the cross? With a look, Jesus stares at the devil that says, it's God's will that I lay down my life for the sins of the world. At that moment, a note arrives from Pilate's wife. And reading it, Pilate is so disturbed. Looking up at the place where Pilate now sees his wife looking on the balcony toward him, you can see that the throngs of hell have made a tremendous distraction in her house, and she has not slept well. And so the note reads, "Do not have anything to do with this innocent man, for I have suffered a great deal today in a dream because of him." And at this, Pilate is moved to release him. And he seeks a way to release him. But Satan whispers to Pilate and says to him, "Yes, release him. Let him go. Listen to your wife. Are you not the fox of Jerusalem, a great political genius? I tell you what, why not bring out a criminal and make them choose, as is your custom, between the two? Surely they will not choose a known assassin over the innocent Christ. Do it. Release him." Jesus standing in silence. On the steps of Pilate's place, Barabbas is brought out of jail, a known murderer. The two are side by side on the courtyard steps. For it's the Sabbath and the Jews cannot enter a Gentile's house without becoming unclean themselves. And it's also Passover. So they want to avoid being ceremonially unclean and having to wash. At this moment, Satan goes through the crowd and he begins to whisper to people in the crowd, "Ask for Jesus to be freed." Jesus makes no defense. He stands in silence, his lips bloodied and beaten, his face bruised, his hands tied on the steps, looking at the crowd next to an assassin who boldly says, "Me, pick me, pick me, pick me." With this, Pilate says, "Which of the two do you want me to release to you?" And the crowd, summoned by the religious leaders, who looked around the crowd, making eye contact with as many people as possible, began to say, "Barabbas. We want Barabbas. Give us Barabbas." And the shout begins to rise, "Barabbas! Barabbas! No!" Satan looking up, Jesus' hands tied. "No! This man is innocent! He must go free!" But the shouts are too loud to hear as they begin to now chant, "Crucify him! What shall I do with this man who is called Jesus? If I give you Barabbas?" The religious leaders begin to chant, "Crucify him! Put him to death! Crucify him! Crucify him! Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Do you really want to keep going? Look, they'll just beat you. They'll flog you and let you go." These Jews have no stomach for crucifixion. Satan returning to Pilate, "Have him whipped. Have him whipped so badly that he cannot walk or carry a cross." And these religious leaders will relent. And he'll have to let him go. Because after all, that's the common criminal's punishment. He's beaten so badly he can't walk. And then he's released to his family for his punishment. Let this be your choice. Is it worth it, Jesus? Are you sure you want to go through this? Just go ahead. It's not worth it. Why? What crime has this man committed? Pilate says. They shouted, "Crucify him." Very well, I'm innocent of this man's blood, and you are responsible. But have him flogged.